the time you took to join this session today. So today's session is part of the Digital Month program presented by Wipro Digital on TechGig.com. The topic of today's webinar is Wipro Digital Transformation Journey. And in the session today, we would look at what digital transformation means, where it is headed, and the challenges faced by different industries and companies today. I am quite excited to be the moderator of this session today. Our guest speaker is Santosh Kumar. He is practice head at Wipro Digital. He has breadth of experience right from developing system of chips, operating systems, mobile applications, middleware handling scalability and reliability, and enabling operations. He has multiple patents in technologies related to digital transformation. So without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Santosh.
Thanks, Deepika. Good morning, team. Thanks for taking time from your busy day and joining this webinar. So what I'll do is I'll just, in the next 30 minutes, I'll just walk through what our thoughts on digital is. And then the remaining 30 minutes we'll take Q&A if you have any questions. Feel free to just punch in your questions as and when you get those questions, so you don't have to wait till the Q&A questions. So let me start with just giving you an idea of what digital means. So I'm sure digital is a very widely used and abused term today. So it means different things for different people. So let me just break the digital thought process from what it means to an end customer or a consumer versus the enterprise or the industry. So from a customer point of view, if you look at it, today what's happening is there's a big change in the customer lifestyle. So the data which he consumes, whether it is through PC or through any additional channels, new devices, handheld devices, IoT, Internet of Things, etc., is very high. So the consumer is consuming huge amount of data. The devices he uses to consume this data is very, very different from the traditional desktop or a PC or laptop based systems. Now he's more like looking at smartphones, smart devices, Fitbits, etc. The customer is also basically just is not waiting. Sorry. The customer is just not looking at pure service consumption. He wants to be part of the creation. So you must be familiar with the crowdsourcing concept. So here it is more of co-innovation, co-sourcing of the service which he wants to consume. So that's the expectations of customer. And customers in the current world are not looking at the traditional 18 months cycle for delivering new products or services. They're looking at speed. I have explicitly written here velocity because speed is directionless, whereas velocity is with direction. Agility, so they want the changes, they want any modifications, customizations done very fast. Flexibility, they don't want the generic product, they want to actually customize and personalize the product or service for them. So that's the customer expectations from the digital services. So what it means for industry or the enterprises, right? So basically they need to customize. So earlier they were providing mass products or services. Now it is more of mass customization. So it means that it needs to be contextualized to the instant the customer is consuming that product or service. It needs to be personalized, that's a given. And then there is a big change happening towards the consumption mode from the consumers. So it's no longer a buy only approach. The customer is ready to basically do a rental model, do a lease model, etc. So there are various different business models the customer is expecting. So the industry or the enterprise needs to change the systems so that they can provide and enable the various business models. And it is not basically an or option, it is more an and option. So I might buy a service in one business model, but I might buy a different service in another different model. And one customer can buy the same service in model A, in a business model, let's say he might just buy the service, another customer might just rent the service. So he needs to support all the business model for all the products and services. And other big challenge with the increased technology evolution is that there are new players coming into the market frequently, because the entry barriers have just got reduced. So competition is very high. So the customers, the enterprise needs to basically keep up to date, engage their customer, and basically bring the loyalty of the customers to their products and services. Of course, we understand the net neutrality, so which is one of the biggest driver for digital transformation initiatives within the enterprises. So let me just take through what a customer expects. So if you look at a customer expectation from a digital service or digital transformation point of view, he wants the entire buy journey and the service assurance journey to be seamless, to be integrated, and to be consumed in any devices he wants, be it the discovery of the product. So even before the product gets the user thinks that he needs that product, he needs to be able to find that product. So basically, because there's a lot of overload of information, products and services here, so how easy can you make the discovery process for the consumers? So that's one. Once the discovery is done, how can he explore, how can he feel, touch, feel, experiment with the product, and then the entire buy journey. So today, if you look at it, most of the enterprises are prominently focusing on the discovery part of it. More or less, only the new age companies have focused on the explore part. So they just, the traditional enterprise have just started on the discovery part of it. So of course they have the other aspects like the explorations, the decision making, the shopping experience, the checkout experience. So today we are talking about zero touch checkout process. And of course, once the product is purchased and delivered to the customer, you need to continuously engage the customer. So how do you ensure that the assurance of the service so that you don't have any dissonance from the customer? So these are the entire journey which a customer expects to be seamless across multiple devices. So omni-channel is one of the buzzword which most of the industries is talking about today. So when I say omni-channel, it could be if I call a call center, they should exactly know what I have done in the last couple of minutes or last couple of days, which type of products I have accessed, which what the issue is. So that's one aspect. So let's talk about IVR. So today, if a customer dials in a toll-free number and interacts with an IVR system, the IVR system needs to be intelligent enough to provide the required information rather than asking the user to navigate through different menu systems. Can I have the menu systems dynamic, flexible, personalized to the customer? And of course the online, you have a web, you have mobile app. So most of the customers today are talking about mobile first. So you must be familiar with some of the enterprise going the mobile only route. So those are some of the expectations from the consumer. So as I mentioned in the previous slide, so what does the digital mean to customer? They need to find the product, they need to be able to buy the product, they need to be able to set up and consume the product, they should be able to modify, customize, add, delete in the entire process, and of course also upgrade, cross-sell, upsell different aspects of it. So it's all about zero touch, real time, self-care, one click experience is what the customer is expecting from a digital transformation. So what does it mean for the enterprise? What does digitization or digital transformation mean? I think a lot of you had posted questions in the Q&A session saying that what is uh, digital transformation? Look at the traditional industry, they have been on the right operational efficiency, predominantly focused, inward focused on their IT systems, on their processes, etc. They said that this is what I will give to the consumer, and consumers will buy the way I deliver the product or service. Whereas of late, as I mentioned in the previous slide, the customer is expecting personalization, contextual, real-time, one-touch experience. So the journey of moving from an inward IT and process focused to focusing on how the customer will interact with me, how the moment of truth for the customers would be established for my products and services is where the digital transformation is, right? The interactions between the customer, the focus from the customer experience and the operational efficiency. And that is where we are seeing most of the organizations are looking at digital transformation. So it is more about transforming their enterprises thought process to think from the customer experience point of view rather than from the systems and process point of view. So that's what digital transformation in a nutshell means. So let's look at what enterprise have been doing, the traditional enterprise have been doing. So if you look at the traditional enterprise, they have been more focused on COTS product, basically like the ERP systems, the CRM systems, the Salesforce.com, or the customer management systems like Adobe, IBM, Oracle, etc. So this is a traditional enterprise-centric organization, whereas the digital and enterprise or the new enterprises are completely focused on agile, being flexible, being able to deliver um, services at a very flexible and agile way and at a very short duration. So today the timeline for launching a digital product or services is reducing. So right now it is in the range of 6 to 8 months. Even that's too long. So I think the industry is trying to shrink the product launch cycles to less than 3 months. And then they're looking at n equal to 1, which means that personalized and contextualized services for the consumer. So there is no direct relation between what the customer, what the enterprise provides and what the customer expects. So the relation between the product catalog which the enterprise has and the product or the services which the consumer buys are getting very messy. So that is the expectations or what the new age internet age companies are looking at. Predominantly, the internet age companies are focusing on addressing the life cycle, and they are building their products or the services predominantly around open source. They're adopting open source. Whereas the traditional enterprise are still looking at CRM, they're looking at basically leveraging existing technologies. So they're trying to modernize their back office versus the internet age companies, which is predominantly focusing on the customer and providing and delivering services to the customer. So what does it mean for a traditional enterprise to become a digital enterprise? So I've just put a different thought process here. So the first one is, of course, as I mentioned earlier, omni-channel experience, where the service the service which the enterprise provides needs to be consumed from any channel, whether it is mobile, whether it is kiosk, whether it is retail outlets, whether it is web, the typical PC and desktops, and it needs to be the journey needs to be single touch or zero touch. So when I say zero touch, it means even before the customer calls up or raises an issue, the enterprise is aware of the issue and already has a resolution for that. The second aspect which the traditional enterprise need to focus on is understanding the customers themselves. The traditional enterprise has a lot of information about customer, but unfortunately because of the COTS product which they currently have, they have these customer information in silos in different COTS products which don't interact. So they need to have a data model or an information model which needs to be modernized so that they can track the information across various systems, across various product lines, across various services, and make predictions on the the next touch point or interactions the customer or consumer might make. Of course, the other aspect is the communication channel. So earlier, if you look at the traditional enterprise, they predominantly focus on distributor-led model. I'm not saying that is good or bad, but in addition to the distributor-led channel model, they need to focus on direct channels. So again here, direct channel just doesn't mean that having a website or creating a mobile app. It also means having a social presence, being part of the customer experience, being part of the customer network, so that the customer is always aware of the brand or aware of the enterprises. The other aspect is today, if you look at the new age companies, they provide most of their services, whether it is a B2B business to business service or a B2C business to customer services in a SaaS model. So the the traditional enterprise need to enhance or extend their existing systems so that it can interact with these services which are provided by these internet age companies. So they need to be flexible enough to take and package the SaaS offerings from the vendors and then provide that similar service or as a modified service to the customers. Again, on the front end side, they need to provide services to customers around in a SaaS model or a PaaS model rather than the traditional buy-only model. The other aspect is, of course, we talked about the scale piece of it. So today, if you look at it, the traditional enterprise, beyond a certain number of users, they run into challenges, operational challenges, service delivery related challenges. So most of the traditional enterprises we have come across are now migrating towards a hybrid model where they have their own on-premise services systems for the core set of customers, and for scale they are leveraging the cloud options. So if you look at from a enterprise point of view, what does digital transformation means? So it has multiple aspects. So I've just tried to summarize and capture the digital transformation journey in this framework diagram. So these are the areas where currently Wipro is focusing on and helping our customers transform or undertake the digital transformation journey. As I mentioned, the first and foremost starts from the customer experience, which is nothing but the way the customers, end users interact with the enterprise. So what I have labeled it as digital interactions. So this could be, as I said, it could be from your smart devices like your Fitbits, smartphone, the smartwatch, or it could be from your mobile apps, it could be from your IVR, it could be your retail outlets, It is actually across the various channels, including both the traditional, the physical channel and the digital channel. So once the customer is able to digitally interact with the enterprise, then the products and services needs to be positioned and delivered to the customer such a way that the customer can easily discover, explore, experiment, personalize, contextualize the services based on his needs rather than what the enterprise has to offer. So that is where the digital products and services, or what you call in the traditional term, what you call the catalog, product catalogs, need to evolve to the next gen catalog, where not only it supports the traditional digital catalogs, but it also enables me to modify and integrate third-party partner catalogs, and also provide the flexibility for the end consumer to define and create his own product or services what he needs. So once the catalog, once the customer is exposed to the catalog, he's able to customize and he's able to define what service or product he requires. Then how do I deliver that product? How do I service that offerings to the customer? So again, here it could be done digital or it could be physical. So having the right channel partners to deliver the goods, ensure that the experience from the time the customer has made the purchase to the time he consumes the first consumption of this service is seamless. This involves, again, interacting with multiple vendor systems. It involves interacting, ensuring that the sales rep, the field force are digitally enabled and aware so that they can interact with the customers. They have the information at their fingertips so that when a customer has a query, they can immediately respond to the customer. So in order to make the delivery and the services of the products or services, you require a backend. So that's what I have referred as digital enterprise ecosystem. The backend could be on-premise products or the COTS product, or it could be SaaS products from people like Salesforce, or it could be some other vendors. So again, you require an ecosystem of partners and systems within the enterprise and outside the enterprise to make the entire discovery, buy, and service consumption and service assurance piece of it. So that's the second layer, which is predominantly the way the system interacts or enables the customer to interact with the enterprise. So now, once we have the system in place, there need to be a process or a mechanism for all the various systems to interact, the standard operating procedures. So the traditional SOPs or the business operations procedures are not sufficient for the agility and flexibility required in the digital world. So so the enterprise need to focus, realign the digital process, simplify the digital process. So in fact, we are undertaking a lot of digital simplification journey for our customers, where we are just looking at their existing standard operating procedures, the way the customer interacts with the enterprise, the way the enterprise systems interacts with the operational systems, so that we can simplify and reduce the flab in the entire process. So once this is done, the key aspect is that it is very easy to change the systems, the process, etc. But then how do you enable your employees, that companies, how can companies enable their employees to be integrated and to take advantage of this digital platform which they have invested, and also provide digital services to the customer? So that is where we have the competency, the training framework mechanisms. So it is just not, even in the traditional world, typically the competency is managed by the vendor who installs the product. For example, if it is a SAP for ERP, SAP will provide the training, will provide the regular upgrades of the competencies required to use the system. But with the technology changing, with the digital infrastructure, digital framework constantly evolving, the organization need to focus on building and enabling the digital competency for their employees. So it starts from the sales field force, the sales team, the backend team. How can they leverage? Again, there are some tools and technologies which would help them, but then the users of those tools and technologies need to be digital literate. So how do you enable them? So that's another framework completely which we are focusing on. As I mentioned, the digital platform to enable the digital distribution, the digital product catalog, and managing and interacting with the various ecosystems. It's not a one-time installations like the traditional COTS product. It keeps evolving. It evolves as fast as we have upgrades and releases as fast as 1 month time frame. The traditional was about 8 months to 18 months. So now the digital platform or the IT system gets updated every month or every 3 months, whatever is the speed at which the organization wants to manage. And the third block is basically the digital back office. When I talk about the back office here, I'm talking about the service representatives. So can they get access to this information of the customers, information of the systems in a seamless integrated view? So again, the omni-channel which we talked about from the consumer point of view, that's applicable for the back office team as well. Here again, the challenge is to integrate multiple systems and provide an integrated view. That's one of the challenge which is anyway addressable with the technologies we have in hand. But of late what we are seeing is the predictive mechanisms or the artificial intelligence which is being introduced in the back office, so that even before a customer makes an inquiry or connects or interacts with the customer representative has all the information. He exactly knows why the customer is calling him and what the resolution is, what the alternate backup is. So you don't have to wait for 2 days, or you don't have to say, let me call you back, or I'll get back to you in 2 days, 3 days time frame, or I will send you an email. So this is more real-time instantaneous feedback, you leveraging the artificial intelligence piece of it. Of course, all this needs to be backed by the digital infrastructure. When I talk about digital infrastructure, here I'm not only referring to the cloud infrastructure, which we are all familiar with, but also we are talking about software-defined X. So there is software-defined anything. So it could mean software-defined networks, it could mean software-defined storage, it could mean software-defined compute. So whatever you talk about it, all the flexibility or the infrastructure required to deliver that, the compute, network, connectivity, and the storage aspects of it, which is required to deliver the products and services. So the digital infrastructure is again, SDX are evolving. It's still in its nascency stage. For example, the SDN is just getting experimented and trialed in various countries and geographies. Cloud has been there for quite some time. Now we're talking about the software-defined storage also has been there. It still has not reached the throughput or the IOPS which is required to deliver this. But of course, with the evolution of the technology, we will see a lot more changes around the network, software-defined network, and storage in the future. So what does it mean? How can we do a customer-centric digital transformation? So what Wipro has done is Wipro has identified 3 different aspects. One is the strategy, which is prominently focused around the process, the customer journey maps, understanding the current state as a state and what the future states need to be for the particular enterprise. The design part of it, how can I engage the customer in a personalized and contextualized manner? How can I deliver the service and products? How can I design the service and the products to the customer in the way the customer wants it? So that's the design aspect. And of course, in order to support the strategy and design, we need the technology to enable these digital products and services. So uh, so we help the customers identify, implement, build, integrate the required digital platforms for delivering the uh, digital services and the digital interactions with the customer. So how do we do it? As I said, three aspects. Interactions, the focus is on three aspects: interactions, integrations, and insights. So the interactions is the way the design of the product of the service is done to enable and provide the customer journeys. Integration is automating and digitizing most of the product delivery and product service assurance of it. Insights, predominantly leveraging the data both internally and outside the organizations and providing real-time intelligence, predictive information so that the customer experience uh, is excellent. So how we do it? So we have frameworks, we have mechanisms which we have built over the last 24 months. So we have IP and we have patented digital distribution framework which enables our customer to deliver digital products seamlessly integrating with the traditional systems. How we integrate is we use predominantly microservices framework architecture approach through which we interact with the legacy systems and the new age systems. The other advantage of the microservices framework which we have is basically to have a multi-cloud distributed infrastructure systems. Apart from that, we have some frameworks on digital assurance. So the metrics, the parameters, you no longer can use just the traditional measurement KPIs which you were using in the past. So there are some new additional metrics which is required for enhancing the customer journeys in the digital world. So how do you measure those metrics? How do you deliver those service SLAs, KPIs for the customer? So that's the service assurance piece. The digital consulting is predominantly on the process side of it, the digital process, the customer journey, the customer maps, etc. Of course, today most of the customers want to use digital content, and with the with the 4Gs, you have the bandwidth, you have no restrictions on the type of content or the data you can consume digitally. So most of the organizations are actually are looking towards digital TVs as one of the medias to interact with the customer. So instead of text, instead of speech, this is more of visual. So digital media is becoming a more prominent way of connecting, reaching out to the customers. So again here we have developed framework. Wipro has developed framework and delivered solutions to deliver more interactive, high-quality video content for the consumers. Of course, mobility first as a strategy is being adopted by most of the enterprises. So again, designing the strategy around mobiles, mobility. How do you implement the technologies required for a mobile first implementation of mobile first journey, etc. is another focus area which most of our customers are looking at, and we provide solutions around that. We have frameworks around that and partners around delivering a mobile first strategy. The last, which is the traditional digital journey, is the digital marketing. So this is where most of the customers start their digital transformation journey by having their online presence, by ensuring that their experience, their interactions with the customer online is transformed or is enabled. So again, this has been our one of our traditional areas where we have been enabling our customers with. So that sorts of completes my slides. So I think we can open the floor for questions.
Thank you, Santosh. Thanks a lot for this really insightful presentation. I would request you to take up the questions. These have been assigned to you on the questions tab.
So let me first take the first question from Venkatesh. So his question is, what is the difference between buying a service and renting a service? So let me probably elaborate or give a difference between what a buy means and what a rental means. So buy typically means that you buy a particular service for, let's say, 3 months in advance or 4 months, 10 months, whatever is your duration. So you buy the service, you purchase the service or the product in advance, and you consume it at a later point of time. Whereas renting the service means pay as you go model. So basically you just pay for the amount of consumptions you have done. So it is more like it could be, if you look at a business model, it could mean basically it's not paying upfront for the data, or you can just say it could also be like you buy 100 points of the service or 100 points worth service, and then you can consume that over a period of time. So that's what when I meant buy and rent of a service. So I have a next question from Sri. His question is, how does digital transformation impact on present generation? I'm not sure what what you meant by present generation. So if you look at the entire need for the digital transformation, which I covered in the second slide, the customer is expecting. So we are talking about the Gen X, Gen Y customer base who are more digital literate, digital savvy. Their interactions and engagements with the enterprises are more through various different digital channels. So yes, it is not an impact of the present generation, but it is more a need, because the present generation is more digital savvy. The enterprise need to upgrade themselves or transform themselves so that they can address the needs of the present generation customers. So there's a question from Nitin. What is agile methodology? So agile methodology is a mechanism through which enterprise can deliver products in a much faster time frame. So if you look at the typical waterfall and iterative way of delivering products, so you have to wait for 18 months where the requirements are frozen, the designs are built, and then the product is implemented and validated and tested and then given to the consumers. Whereas in agile mode, you don't know the requirements, you don't know your design, you know at a very high level how your entire system architecture will look like, but you don't know the nitty-gritties of the individual components. So each of, as the requirements evolve, your design evolves, and you go ahead and implement it. again, people get confused between agile and iterative. So yes, there is similarity between agile and iterative, but again, there is a difference as well, where in agile, you still are not very clear on your requirements. Okay. So I'll go into the next questions. There's a question from Manohar saying, what do you mean by SaaS and PaaS? Sorry, SaaS stands for Software as a Service. PaaS stands for Platform as a Service. So it's basically the way you deliver the service to the end consumers. Okay, I'll go to the next question. Is there any relation between digital transformation and Internet of Things? The answer is yes and no. Internet of Things is one of the driving force for digital transformation. So if there is if an enterprise is focusing on Internet of Things, then yes, they need to undertake a digital transformation if they have not already done that. But I said no because if a company is not focusing on Internet of Things, they still need to undertake digital transformations to provide digital service or to address the digital lifestyle of the new generation customers. So I have a question from Nagnathan. Is DevOps any relation to digital transformation? Yes, DevOps is one of the way through which we can deliver products, upgrades, new functionality, customizations much faster to the consumers, but it is not the only option for digital transformations. So yes, so if you hear if you hear DevOps, that means the organization or the enterprise is undertaking a digital transformation journey. So the next question from Pradeep. How it is beneficial in mobility sector? So let me probably I just briefly touched upon mobile first strategy some of the enterprises are pursuing. So let me spend a couple of minutes on the mobile first strategy. So if you look at it earlier, when people were talking about digital, they were predominantly referring to online presence. So if you look at some of the new customers now, they don't want to have online customers. They want to have the interactions with the consumers through mobiles. So instead of having a digital presence and managing that as a separate channel, they want to completely just ignore the digital online channel and focus on mobile app or the mobile interactions with the customer. So here it could mean either a mobile app or a mobile-based website through which customer interacts with the enterprise, consumes the services or products which the enterprise has to offer. So let me just look at so there's a question from Manjunath saying that I am an ETL/DWBI QA lead. If I need to become part of digital journey, what is the technologies, languages recommended which should help to work on it? So it's a good question. So I think from a technology point, I think there are a couple of more questions on the technology, languages, etc. So typically when you say digital, what we focus here within Wipro is not on a particular technology or a particular language. The way our thought process is within Wipro Digital and why we have created a separate organization called Wipro Digital. And if you had attended yesterday's session, you would have got some gist of it. So let me just give a very high-level view. The way we have orchestrated the Wipro digital team is basically the team needs to be flexible in various tools. They need to adapt and learn. They should have the aptitude to learn and understand new programming languages, because today if you look at it, there are different programming languages. The technology is evolving. For example, a couple of months back, AngularJS was one of the hot skills which the market was looking at. Now I think most of the enterprises are moving away from AngularJS and using React as a language. Again, earlier JavaScript, Python, J2E, etc. was a couple of the languages which we were using on the backend side for digital transformation. Of late, we are seeing more and more adoption of language called Go language. So the languages, the programming languages will keep evolving. So the people who want to be part of the digital journey should have the aptitude and develop the culture of learning new languages and adopting and implementing. So choose the language which best suits or addresses your problem. So it is not that I know Python and I will, for any problem or for all the problems, I'll only use Python as a language for resolving the issue. No, with the complexity, with the challenges we are having in this digital transformation, you need to use Python, you need to use Go, you need to use JavaScripts, you need to use .NET frameworks, whatever is it takes to address that particular problem. So you can't be just focused on one particular language. On the technology side of it, again, depending on the areas uh, you're good at, you can specialize. As I mentioned, let me just go back to that slide uh, uh, where I just drew the different block diagrams. So if you look at this slide, so typically in the digital interactions, or what you call as the digital front end, there the languages which we typically use are AngularJS, JavaScripts, etc. On the digital distribution or the backend side of it, of late we are seeing Go as one of the popular language being adopted. Within Wipro, we do have trainings for all these new languages and new technologies which comes in. From a concept point of view, since Manjunath said he's a data warehousing test lead, so understanding the ways in which analytics can be done, since insights is one of the focus theme for us. So real-time analytics, the way you can analyze the data, the way you can leverage the existing data. So that's one key. So analytics is a key piece of things. So any technologies. So of late there are a lot of open source products like R, which people are using for different analytics. Again, now for the predictive or artificial intelligence, Wipro has developed an in-house platform called Holmes, which is an artificial or cognitive system for analyzing various data. So again, having a good understanding of the various digital data transformations, the data flow models, the information flow models, etc., would definitely be an advantage. Also, understanding the traditional enterprise bus, the ESBs, the SOA architecture, the microservices architecture would be another good skill which can help you jump into the digital bandwagon or the digital transformation would be some of the key areas which can help you. And on the back end side of it, if you look at it, as I said, SOA architecture, if you understand the REST-based APIs, Node.js, etc. So if you're familiar with these, or if you can start focusing on these technologies, that would help you integrate with the digital transformation programs. So other question, the next question, moving on to the next question from Pradeep. How open source technology helps for digital transformation? So actually one of the disruptions which has happened in the industry is the open source technology. So for every COTS product or problem which a COTS product addresses, there is an open source framework or an open source technology that people use. For example, Node.js is a good example for delivering digital services for the customer, which is being adopted by most of the by the customers who are undertaking digital transformation. So yes, if you're a new enterprise or a new customer, people are seriously evaluating open source as an alternate because the problem with the traditional COTS product is that if you make an investment, one, the price is very high for that particular COTS product. Two, you're tied to that COTS product for life. So basically 3 years, 4 years, 6 years, you will not be able to change or transform your IT infrastructure landscape. And other challenges with the COTS product are you are dependent on the roadmap defined by the vendor. Rather, you can influence to some extent, but then again the vendor has a major say. Whereas if it is open source, you always have people. The product keeps evolving. You have people supporting it. You can take it and customize it if there is no one who has implemented this particular function. So that's so let me move on to the next questions. So there's a question from Saju. His question is, how is digital transformation in India versus rest of the world? So the advantage which India has, I think I would say, let me first answer that. India is in the forefront or way ahead in some aspects of digital transformation, but they're still catching up on the other aspects. So if you look at it, because India is skipping one implementation generation, so they are now easily adopting the mobile first technology with the connectivity penetration being increasing. So the basically if you look at the way the data is consumed in India, it is mostly via smartphones or mobile phones, versus in the developed countries it is predominantly the other way around. So developed countries, they are still looking at or evaluating and having thoughts on mobile only strategy or mobile first or mobile only digital transformation journey, whereas India has already adopted it and most of the organizations are going mobile only. So that way we are leading the digital transformations, or we are leading the way the digital interactions, the digital products or services are being sold to the consumers. There's one question from Hankare. He says, how can we implement digital transformation techniques in primary schools and so as to strengthen the Digital India initiative? So I think that's an interesting, socially relevant question as well. Yes, lots of schools, there are a lot of startup ecosystem within India focusing on the educational sector and for digital transformations. They're digitizing the way the education is delivered to the students. They are enabling a lot of the way in which the students and the teachers interactions happen, especially to have a larger reach and coverage to and provide quality educations to rural India. Digital transformation will definitely help, and I think the government and startup ecosystems, the enterprise ecosystems are focusing on this aspect of it. So they are digitizing it. They are trying to provide connectivity. They are trying to integrate um the rural educations with the quality of the educations available in the urban cities as well as from outside of India. So yes, there is uh, uh, we are just taking a baby steps in digital transformation in the education sector. So it'll take some time, but yes, we are going in the right directions. So there's a question from Nitin saying, what is digital microservices? So this is a framework which Wipro has built over the last couple of years, where uh, the way you interact with the existing legacy systems, the way you interact with the new systems or the new internet age systems is basically through the microservices framework. But apart from the microservices framework, what we have also inbuilt in our microservices framework is the agility and the flexibility, the ability to scale dynamically at the granular level of services or at the threads level. So that's the one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is monitoring and enabling a distributed mechanisms through which you can um, provide or enable the services which you want to provide to the customers. You don't have to be you don't have to rely just on the infrastructure, the on-premise infrastructure, or just one a public cloud infrastructure. Here we are talking about leveraging a mechanism or the framework to leverage multi-cloud infrastructure so that you can offer your services at a scale and taking into account the cost, the redundancies, etc. So again, the next question from Shri is, how can we implement digital transformation in HR field? HR field, I think, is in the forefront of digital transformation. Uh, whether you're talking about crowdsourcing of resumes, crowdsourcing referrals, online referrals. Uh, so that's from the candidate discovery point of view. Again, from the back-end side of it, the way you implement your HR processes within your organizations, the way you enable the employees, because employees are one of the biggest stakeholders for uh, the HR. So, and today, if you look at, you're again talking about the current, the Gen X, Gen Y employees who are digital savvy. So yes, again, as I said, Wipro has undertaken a major initiative along with a couple of our customers to experiment and prototype in transforming the various process, various systems within the HR industry. Okay, so I think that covers most of the questions.
So thank you, Santosh. Thanks a lot for this really informative and insightful webinar and Q&A session today. We're really thankful to you for conducting this webinar with us. It was indeed a great session.
Thanks, Deepika. And if you have any more questions, feel free to drop an email and we'll get back to you.
Sure. Thank you, Santosh. And we'd also like to thank all our participants for their support in making this webinar a huge success. The recording will be available on TechGig.com and we'll send you the link once the session is over. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for joining us.